Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news now as we discuss a season ender and an injury curse for Manchester United. When will this end? We've got the updates on Xerxes, a bit of speculation around De Ligt, if we're being honest. Onana doesn't want to go. Anthony will only go to Betis. What are your thoughts on that? Also, a very interesting update that we might only make £20 million on Rashford this summer. £20 million is all we're looking to make on Rashford. Shocking, absolutely shocking. Also, we've been linked to Xavi Simons again. The transfer race for Delap is hotting up. There's been a drop from Chris Wheeler in the last hour or so, which is quite interesting actually. And the hipsters are back. The hipsters are back. Oh yeah, we thought they'd disappeared. We thought they'd humiliated themselves on many other things, maybe on De Gea. But the hipsters are back. They're dismantling Amorim this time. We'll talk about that. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Let's get into it. Okay, so look, let's start off with the latest Manchester United news. And, well, the latest Manchester United news is that Joshua Xerxes is expected to be out for several weeks. The extent of the injury could well put him out for the season. Not confident that he would be back for the semi-finals, which would be, I believe, the semi-finals are 2 weeks tomorrow. There's a week off and then you're back in. So the semi-finals of the Europa League are 2 and 3 weeks away. That just hammers home just how, significant this Xerxes update is. Several weeks before he's back. Obviously, hamstring injury. And expected to be, 3 to 6 weeks before he's back, which ultimately, if there's a final, you'd have him in the squad 100%, but very unlikely to be back, if we're being honest, before then. So it is a big blow for Manchester United. I've got to be honest, I did expect this. We're Manchester United. We've got a shit injury record. I expected this. As I said, Arsenal have had it with Gabriel. Just because it's April and May doesn't mean injuries go away. You're going to get them. And especially at our football club, you're going to get them. So, who would you want it to be with? I don't want anyone to get injured, but somebody's going to get injured. It's a bad thing. Also, De Ligt concerns. I'm not going to put it out there, but there is a lot of people, sort of rumours, murmurs around that yet again, Man United are not giving an update on an injury that's a week and a half old. And that is a red flag. And to be fair, they're right. They're right. I'm not here to speculate that De Ligt's out for the season, but we are 2 or 3 weeks away from a semi-final if we get there, and it is very concerning what the update is with De Ligt. Now that doesn't mean there couldn't be a shock De Ligt appearance on the bench on Thursday, but I think we were told a knock. And now we're being told about test results and all sorts. And you're thinking, well, it happened a week and a half ago. What test results are you doing? Pigeons? Are pigeons getting the results? What's going on? So I don't know the significance of the De Ligt injury. All I know is that a lot of people are saying it's quite bad. And also, when we don't get updates, they do tend to be quite bad. When you think about Mason Mount, we never really got an update. He was out for 4 months. Johnny Evans, we never really got an update. I can't remember when he got injured. Same with Biinda. So, look, it's concerning. We're down to the bare bones. Look, I don't want injuries. I don't want De Ligt out. I think he's been one of our better positives this season. But what worries me is we are one player away from Lindelof. We're all right while we've got Maguire and we've got Mazraoui and we've got Yoro, and maybe if Luke Shaw can stay fit, he can play left centre-back as well. But when we get to Lindelof, that's when I go, it's over. It's over. So that's your injury updates. We should be called Injury United, says Paul Dignam. Thank you very much for being a member, Paul, for a couple of months. There's quite a lot to get into tonight. As I said, there's been a drop from Chris Wheeler in the mail. And look, I don't really know where to go next because there's a story on Simons, there's a story on Anthony, there's a story on Onana, there's a story on Delap. But I'm just going to be selfish here and go with the story I want to go with next. We've got Heaven, thank God. And that wasn't even part of the joke. That was actually genuinely me thanking God for Heaven. That wasn't scripted. I genuinely did read the chat and went, I saw Heaven and I went, thank God, yes. It really is one of those. But no, we have got Heaven as well. Bloody hell, yes. Yes. Yeah, I feel better now. Yeah, I do feel better now. Yeah, as long as we don't play Lindelof, we're fine. Lovely stuff. Yeah, so let me talk to you about the Rashford story. This one just caught my eye the most out of all the drops that came out in the last hour or so. Manchester United, Aston Villa have yet to decide whether they want to keep Rashford at the end of his loan. However, Man United are only likely to make 20 million profit after paying off a chunk of his 315 grand a week contract if he makes a move to Villa Park. So, I mean, that's just incredible to me because Rashford's pure profits. And if we're only getting 20 million, I mean, I'm stunned. I really am stunned by that. I mean, I'd sort of come to terms with the fact that 40 million was about right. But remember, it was only 2 or 3 years ago where we were talking about 80. You know, to get 20, it's embarrassing. I'm almost at the point where I say bring him back. Like, and I know Amorim won't want him back and Rashford probably won't want to come back, but I'm almost at the point where you can say, where you just go piss off. No, absolutely not. I'm not doing that deal. I don't care. You can play for the reserves or you can sort yourself out. Both of you. You and Ruben, get in a room, go on holiday together, sort it out. I'm not taking £20 million. You can tell me that's all we're getting. I don't care. I'm not doing it. It's disgusting. It was the one thing that really, and there's some interesting stuff that's come out tonight, but that one just really resonated. I was like, £20 million? And I presume it's because out of the 40, we're going to pay a lot of his wages off because Villa won't want to pay 315 grand a week. And Rashford's got, I don't know. I've got to check this one. How many years contract has Marcus Rashford got left at 315 grand a week? 3 years? Let me have a quick look. Someone's going to have to start working out the maths here. But, yeah, let's have a look here. So he's got 2028, 3 years. 3 years left on his contract. At yeah. So basically, we're going to pay him or Villa 20 million to cover his wages for the next 3 years as well. Yeah. It is a randoms Easter egg on my shelf. Yeah, I thought I'd go a bit Easter. Yeah, I mean, but this is what I mean. Like, I can't deal with the conversation about, you know, when people start going 40 for Rashford, 15 for Sancho, 10 for Anthony, 10 for this, that's £100 million. You spend 10 million on them and you pay it every year. We can sign Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and still have 50 million. You know, you just can't do it because you're all talking about getting 40 million for Rashford and actually it's 20. So, yeah, it's a concern, that is, because where are we raising this money from this summer? And of course, the big thing is when you put for sale we're desperate out there, you do get, I nearly said a word I would not want to say, you do get, and nearly did it again, I just want to say it, but I can't. You do get screwed. And that is probably what's going to happen. People say sell Garnacho. What's Garnacho's value? I feel it's 60. I bet we don't get 45. If we sold Mainu, what's his value? I think it's 70. I bet it'd be 50. You know, Rashford, I'm thinking 40, but because of his wage, it'll be 20. All these players we're selling, we're going to get pegged. We're not going to get pegged, Lance. Some people like that. We're going to get done over, definitely. All-Star Robertson, or Alistair Robertson, you could be an All-Star, says, I just turned 50 and I've supported Man United all my life. This has to be the toughest season. There's just no fight apart from Bruno. Happy birthday, mate. Hope you're enjoying your day. So, yeah, it's a concern as to how we're going to raise money. And it also emphasises what I was saying on the preview for the Lyon game. Like, if we don't get Europa League win and Champions League football, we are in so much trouble. So much trouble. There's just no money, is there? Marlow FC says, the sad thing is, if Ineos let Amorim join in the summer, he probably would have bought Kenda and Gyökeres with him. Mate, 100%. 100%. They've sort of by bringing him in November, they've created that distance between Sporting and him that everybody got used to, and now, it can't do anything about it. But yeah, that Rashford story's very, very interesting. But obviously get your thoughts in. Thanks for the super chat, Marlo, as well. Also goes on to say that Onana is not interested in leaving Manchester United, despite interest from Saudi, etc. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on this a lot because we've spoken about Onana a lot in the last week. What I will say is, what is it? And I put this out to you. What is it about Manchester United that shit players never want to leave? I know the answer. It's one word. It ends in S and it begins with W. And it's not lovely walks around Manchester. It's wages. It's wages. When are we going to learn, right? Why is it players that have underperformed, that the fans make it very clear that they don't want to go? Even when there's a way out, they still don't want to go. And I know Casemiro's doing well at the moment, but for a lot of the last 12 months, he hasn't. And at no point has he gone, I want to go. Even though he's not been in the team, even though he's had some criticism from the media, from the fans, at no point did Casemiro want to go. And he's not the only one. There are plenty of players. Look, Lindelof, not going to go. Eriksen, not going to go last summer. Rojo did it years ago. It's been going on for a long time. You get these players that are clearly not good enough or part of the plan, and they'll stay here for years. Years. Even Martial did it to a certain extent. They just stay forever because they know that they're not going to take a pay cut. And they know that they're just going to run that contract down. The only thing that annoys me about it, I respect the hustle. I do. You've signed a contract. You're on big money. I respect it. It's United's fault. But what annoys me the most is it's not even the wages. It's not even the fact that they won't go. It's the checks before we sign these players. Every bloody time. Maybe, just maybe, we might have done a little bit of background work about personality and what they're like. Are they the sort of person that will sit in and take the money? Or are they actually ambitious individuals who want to play football? And I think over the last 10 years, we've done a great job of accumulating players that really are about themselves, status, and money. And a lot of footballers away from Man United are like that. But there's also a lot of players that aren't. And unfortunately, we never seem to have the player who, when they're in a situation like an Onana, go, it's not working for me here. I want to get out. I want to go and prove myself. So Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay wasn't on good wages at Manchester United, so maybe it's a little bit unfair. But Scott McTominay was sort of like, I'm in and out of the team. Napoli want me. I want to go. I want to go. Why? And funnily enough, we probably should have kept McTominay because he had the right attitude. But I don't agree with that. But you know what I mean. He still had the attitude that he wanted to go and play elsewhere. So many of our players don't want to do it. If we stayed Erik ten Hag, do you think better outcome on sales? Says John. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the interesting thing about that's quite topical, John, is that I was sent a couple of clips today of people sort of writing articles about Amorim and why his system is flawed, and talking about Sporting and how other teams dealt with him and this, that, and the other. And I'm sort of like, what I love about this backstabbing is that when it was going well for him at Sporting, none of these people were writing these articles. They were all there with the tissues knocking one out. But when it starts going wrong at Manchester United, suddenly they're talking about how Sporting were really bad and how his system was really flawed. And yet in November, not one of those articles were being written. They were all glazing him. But going back to your point about Ten Hag, at least if they'd kept Ten Hag till the summer, it was with his players. With Amorim, he's come in with no pre-season, no transfer window, and he's working with Ten Hag's players. And yet, the hipsters want to dismantle his system with players that don't suit his system. It's lazy, in my opinion, because you're judging a guy who hasn't even started his job yet. And the only people you should be... Look, if you're angry and frustrated, which I think many of you have every right to be, You should be angry and frustrated with the prats who decided to do this in November and not support him in January and leave him for basically over half a season with a shit Ten Hag side that can't play football. That's not on Amorim. The players can't suddenly magic that they're good enough to play this system. They never were going to be able to play this system. So I look at Sir Jim again. I look at Super Sir Jim and his super team of best in class, and I think you're absolutely prats. You're clueless. I'd love to get Barada, Wilcox and Sir Jim and Brailsford in a room and say, if you don't tell the truth, you have to go and play with that lion, right? Who's not been fed for a week. So they're going to tell the truth, right? Why did you bring Amorim in November? Tell us. What was the plan? Because my dog and that lion knows it was a stupid idea. But why? What did you think, all four of you brilliant geniuses, think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen when you brought in a manager who plays a distinctive system with distinctive players and you bring him in November and you give him Ten Hag's underperformers? What did you think was going to happen between November and May? And if I guess it, you have to tell me, right? My first guess is, Amorim's at the wheel. You thought he was going to go on a mad run, didn't you? You thought he was going to do an ollie, didn't you? You did. Sir Jim's smiling. He fucking did. I knew it, you fucking idiot. I think that's what they thought was going to happen. I think they genuinely thought that a new manager was going to come in and the players would pick up the tools and start playing better because it's happened before. And I think that's basically what their plan was. So when Amorim was saying, I want to wait till the summer because I need a pre-season, I need a transfer window, I think it was like United were going, no, we want you now. It's now or never. We want you now. Because this is going to... Even he doesn't know what's going to happen. He bloody idiot. He thinks he ain't got a clue. He don't realise. They're all going to start winning loads of games, and it didn't happen. And I think that was it. I think that was the plan. Because I can't believe, actually, that we're back here. Like, I was reading some of the comments last night. Some of them were quite abusive, actually. But it was basically people who want Amorim out. Just being quite abusive in the chat. And I thought to myself, I can't believe we're here again. I can't believe we're here again where we're actually falling out about a manager. Who are these prats in our fan base who just have the IQ of a dead beetle? I mean, they're just... And I'm not talking about, Ringo Starr or anyone like that. I mean, like an actual rest in peace, good band. But Ringo Starr's alive. Bloody hell. Ringo Starr's not dead. He's one of the ones who's alive, isn't he? People are like, what's he talking about? They're a band in the 60s. No, I'm talking about a Beatle. But what I'm saying is, I can't believe that there are people in our fan base that really think the manager is the problem again. I mean, they are. I have many words, but it's probably a little bit unfair. When all these players are gone, will we ever get a proper deal that makes players their actual price, says the Attic Radio. Well, you can throw stones at the Glazers. John Murtaugh's just gone and got a job as head of global development for Atalanta. I thought Atalanta were a good club. I mean, we're still dealing at Man United with most of Murtaugh's stupid deals, like contract renewals, everything. Did he not sign Anthony? Did he not give the contract to Rashford? I mean, I don't know what Atalanta are doing. Maybe it's a thank you for the deals that he did for Rasmus and Ahmad. I don't know. Was he here for Ahmad? Maybe it's set up for people to slag the Rasmus deal off, isn't it? But no, I think it's stunning to me. They don't have the brains to build a winning football team. They only know how to run businesses. Oh, I know what I was going to say to the Attic Radio. I'll come back to yours, Paul. This blame shifting to the Glazers and Murtaugh. Let's not forget the Xerxes deal. We probably spent about close to 50 million quid on that, with the agent fees added in. So, and that was an Ineos deal. Xerxes probably cost us about 50 million quid. On paper, it was about 34, but apparently it's very similar to the Haaland deal. Apparently, Man City only paid 65 million for Haaland. The rumour is they paid double when you take into fees to family members and agents, and I think we've done that a few times as well. They don't have the brains to build a football winning team. They only know how to run businesses, says Paul. Thank you very much, Paul, for your super chat. And Thomas Lilly says, Mark, I worry it could get way worse next year, especially based on Thursday in the coming window. First time I felt we could get relegated. I don't think we'll get relegated, Thomas, because I don't think there's a team coming up good enough to get 30 points yet. So you're going to struggle to get relegated. But I suppose, you know, this has been our worst ever Premier League season. And it's Ineos's first full year with the first transfer window. And it's been look, anybody who buys, and I don't know whether you can do it anymore because people don't buy DVDs, but anybody who purchases a season review for this year needs medical help. Please get help. I mean, why would you want to watch this Premier League season? Why would you want to watch it back? I used to get them every year, you know. Every year. I got them for so many years. I've got loads of them on VHS. People won't even know what that is. It was a video that you put in a machine and it played it. I don't even know if they do them anymore, but you need help if you're going to get one of those. It's our worst ever Premier League season. And I sort of agree with what Thomas says. We won't get relegated next season, but when you've got Prats in charge, why would you be confident that anything's going to get any better? Every decision they make seems to be stupid. I mean, I'm genuinely worried. Chris Wheeler in the Mail has basically said Man United are favourites to get Liam Delap, which I said a week and a half ago. I got told this. I don't want us to get Liam Delap, but I'm not going to lie about the information. Like, Man United are really confident they've got this deal done. Wilcox knows him, had him at Man City, and they're really confident they're going to beat Chelsea, and it's up yours, Chelsea. We've won him. Get in the bin. They really, really think they've got him. Chris Wheeler in the Mail tonight. Man United are favourites to get him. The only club in England that don't want him is Arsenal, apparently. I mean, that's a hint. That's a hint. If I said to you which Premier League club needs a striker more than anybody, Arsenal. Arsenal would win that poll. I mean, as United fans, we want a striker, but Arsenal would win that poll. They're the only club in the Premier League who doesn't want Liam Delap. I'd look at that and go, there might be a reason for that. That Arsenal, the team that need a striker more than anybody, don't actually want Delap. I mean, I would say that the reason they don't want Delap is not because he's a bad player, but because they don't want someone with L plates. So we're very confident we're going to get that deal done, and we're favourites. But apparently there's a lot of competition. For me, it's a little bit like watching The Sixth Sense when you've already seen it. It's the most unexciting transfer. I mean, I just can't. I'm sure we will, but I can't imagine, 3 weeks of deal close, the concrete setting. Oh, could be today, could be here we go. I mean, if this is what we've got for June, Delap, I'm just going to cry. If that's the big, we did. I know there were flops, but I've done transfer shows on Pogba chasing Sancho, chasing Ronaldo back, and this summer it could be the summer of Delap. Oh, we're ahead of Brentford. I've dropped my pen. We're ahead of Everton. It's just Chelsea and United now for Delap. Who's going to win it? Oh, it's closer than close. Oh, Romano's done the dots. I just can't. I can't deal with it. I really can't. But I think we will get him. But again, this worries me a little bit because there are people in our fan base that just want to, glow up Barada and Wilcox and everybody else. And they're the same people that did it with Murta Madness and Woodward walking in like a boss. And I just think, I've heard your shit so many times over the summer, and here you are again, glowing up people you've never spoken to, you've never met, and they have no track record really, but apparently they're the Don Wilcox. Yeah, well, I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't think Man United are a very well-run club, and I'm yet to see anybody in that football club that does a good job. I think a lot of the recruitment around 17-year-olds comes from Favel, actually, as well, who never seems to get mentioned. But, yeah, well, apparently we're going to win that race, as per me, and now other people are talking about it. Raja says, it's my 36th birthday and happy to share I'm going to be a dad for the first time in July. Are United stand bringing some infant items out soon? Not as far as I'm aware, but happy birthday and congratulations on the news about you being a dad. There we go, Raja. Big shout out. Always like to share good news. M. Parker says, irony, we don't back the first good coach we get. And Harkaran, thank you very much for your super chat. Rack says, what are we looking at next season if we don't win Europa and don't get the transfer window we desperately need? Legitimate relegation battle. I think next season will be the most depressing season in our Premier League history if we miss out on winning the Europa League. I think it will be horrific, really horrific. Yeah, I think it will be a horrible place, to be honest. Soldiers are worth millions, not footballers, says Redemption. Rashford and Sancho, just like new players, says Keel. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I want to move through some of these other stories that we've got. So apparently, Anthony only wants to go to Betis. His priority is Real Betis in the summer, whether it's a permanent deal or another loan deal. What are your thoughts on that? You know what? I read it, and I'll just give you my honest reaction. I couldn't give a shit what Anthony wants. You've earned 200 grand a week at Man United for 3 years. You've done next to nothing, and there might be clubs willing to give us decent money that aren't Betis. I couldn't give a shit whether you want to stay at Betis or not, mate. You know, we need to do what's best for us here. Now, if Betis can give us the money, happy days. But if Betis can't give us the money, I do worry a little bit, because let me tell you a little story. Anthony might not be the easiest player to get rid of because, and I said it at the time as well, I was very excited about signing Anthony, but what did he do at the end with Ajax? He made it quite difficult, didn't he? Did he not go on strike or something? So I'm quite happy. Well, I'm very happy with what he's doing at Betis, but have Betis got the money that maybe an Atletico Madrid have got? I would rather that story wasn't out there. I would rather Anthony was just focusing on Betis and seeing what's out there, because bottom line is we need him to go in the summer and we need to secure the best deal we can get. I don't like it when players are going, I only want to go here, I don't want to go here. So, look, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But the big positive is that that there should be some interest in him anyway, and he's actually doing well on loan. Remember, it's Rashford watch tonight as well. That's why we're a little bit early. I forgot to say that. PSG against Aston Villa. I can't believe I lost my pen. I hate it when... Oh, here it is. When you drop something and you don't know where it is. Okay, so that's the Anthony bit I wanted to talk about. Yeah, Xavi Simons has been linked to us again. Again, this is a story coming in from Chris Wheeler. So basically, Simons is back on the agenda for Manchester United. They've been monitoring him ever since, well, the last 2 summers under Ten Hag, both summers. Much depends on whether we get Champions League football, but we are apparently keeping him under observation again. Interesting, because he's definitely a player that was a target under Ten Hag. Look, good players can transition from one manager to another and be a target. It might well be the case that Man United's recruitment team have basically said to Amorim, we were looking at Simons last year, we didn't quite get him, but we still think he's a really good signing. What do you think? And Amorim may have gone, yeah, you know what, actually he would be really suitable for one of the 10 roles in my team. So that might have happened, but I don't know what the price would be about that one. And I don't know what people think about it. I mean, look, he's a decent player. He is a decent player, but he's certainly better than going for someone like Tyler Dibbling, I think, who at least Simons has got some bloody experience. But I suppose, I mean, Autumn Wind says he's overrated. It depends on what the price is. I mean, £80 million, I don't think he would be 80. I don't think he'd be 70 either. I think he's, I don't think he's tearing it up where he's at the moment. So, you know, I think it could be... honestly, I don't feel that we're in for him, really. I don't think we're in for Edison. I don't think we're in for Frimpong. I don't think we're in for Simons. These are all players that we've been looking at in the past. I don't think we're in for Kuna. I really don't think we're in for any of these players, if I'm being honest. I think they are nice stories to excite elements of our fan base that are naive enough to think that we're actually still looking at those types of players. I fear the players that we're looking at in the summer could be quite unimaginative, because we just don't have the pull or power to go and get the players that we need. Andre Gomez said, they forced our expectations to lower. I catch myself thinking top half ain't so bad and have to slap myself out of the brainwashing. Yeah, it's a drip effect of lowering expectations, isn't it? I mean, if you said to me If you'd said to me that the season David Moyes took over for Sir Alex Ferguson and we were Premier League champions, that we would gradually get worse over the next 12 years and be in a realistic position of finishing fourth from bottom, I'd have said, you're having a laugh. I mean, imagine if somebody told you what would happen to Man United for the next 12 years when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Would you give up football? Or would you take the next 12 years just watching it all? I mean, I can't imagine I'd ever give up football, but bloody hell. What a sad story that would be if somebody mapped out the next 12 years. Yeah, okay, there's been occasional... If we're being honest, I wouldn't have gone, oh, it's not too bad. Couple of FA Cups, couple of Carabao Cups and a Europa League. I'd have gone, you're having a joke. You know what you can do with your Coca-Cola Cups and your Europa Leagues? You can chuck them off a fucking ship. Where's the Premier League? Where's the Champions League? Do we win? Do we get anywhere near any of them? We don't? Okay, thanks, mate. Cheers. Kids are crying. And the Glazers are still in charge. How? How do they survive that? We hate them now. And we've just won the Premier League. How do they survive that? Crazy. It is crazy that it's crazy what they've done. Oh, Old Trafford's getting knocked down as well? You what? And they're still in charge? What? Yeah, it's crazy what they've done to the club and been allowed to do. But we've got one of the most, collectively, we've got one of the most weak fan bases in the world. I hate to say that. You know, people take it as people take it personally. There's amazing people in our fan base who really do great stuff. Look at what's been happening with the protests and the sit-ins and everything like that. But as a collective, it's such a small percentage. There's still a huge percentage buying Amorim's hoodie. You know, I got told the other day that hoodie, the sales of it are incredible. We're nearly fourth from bottom. And people are out there buying that fucking hoodie. Every time I see Amorim in it, I want to chuck paint all over it. I'm like, mate. But this is why we fail, because there's 3 new kits coming out in the summer, and people will be going, "Oh, well, that's amazing. That's amazing." Look at Will in the chat. The hoodie's really nice. I wouldn't wipe my arse on it, mate. I wouldn't wipe my arse on it. It reminds me of Ruben Amorim stood there helplessly trying to play football with a bunch of prats. I can't understand anybody who buys it. And where would you wear it? Do you walk around the streets wearing that? Fair play. Fair play. Well done. I hope we get Schick over Delap, says Hector. I don't think you will, mate. I don't think that's going to happen. But, yeah. Any update on Ahmad, says Rax. I think Ahmad's probably... Ahmad might end up doing a shock. Like, he could end up being on the bench for... I was looking at our fixtures the other day. Remember what I said about Ahmad, and everyone else was saying start of May, and then they started saying April, and they went back to May again. I always said Ahmad is aiming for the end of May. So I reckon Bournemouth away a week on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the bench for that game. The way Ahmad is trajecting at the moment, he ain't that far away. I think Sunday against Wolves is too soon, but we've got a break between Wolves and Bournemouth. We've got a week, so I think he might be back on the bench for that. And then the following Thursday would be the semi-final. So yeah, I always said end of April, so that's what I'm going with. From all of the Michael's just ordered the hoodie. Okay, thanks, Michael. Let's have a look. 3 dots. Block. There we go. From all of the Glazers' crimes, knocking Old Trafford down must be the biggest. Your thoughts? Yeah, I think it's disgusting, but a lot of people are on board with it. You're going to regret that in the future, I think. I see dead bodies. Thanks for your super chat. I'm joking. He's not been blocked. He's just been put on a timeout for an hour. See, there's always an idiot in the chat. Mr. Huntman Spider, why would you block him over that? Mate, 10 years. Look up sarcasm. Samuel Radcliffe, he blocked someone for ordering a hoodie. Mate, look, I'll let you off if you're new. If you're new, okay. If you're not new, go and have a look in the mirror and say, I'm a massive big prat. I've done delets, and I just want to make sure I've covered everything because there was a lot to cover tonight. Anthony, we've done. Amorim, we spoke about. Onana wants to stay. Arsenal not in for Delap, but everyone else is. Xerxes, we've done as well. Xabi Simons, and yeah, okay, covered it off basically. Let me just make sure nothing new is coming into my WhatsApp group. Romano's not replied. Nothing from David. Nothing from Rasmus. Nothing from Ahmad. Nothing. Okay. See, I'm joking again. Or am I? No, I'm actually just looking on our chat group and on socials. Let's have a look. Notifications. I really want to play my career mode again. I know things are shit when I want to go onto fantasy mode. Manchester United will also try to raise transfer funds through player sales with the futures of homegrown talents Garnacho and Mainu still up in the air. Scary that is, isn't it? I mean, that's not new, but it is scary. Yeah. It's scary that we might need to do that, especially if you're only going to make 20 million from that there. Okay. Right, I'm literally live in 4 minutes on That's Football, so I have got to go. It's a big game tonight. Few beers for the match on Thursday, says Lunar Sky. I'll put it up on the shelf tomorrow. Remind me, I did promise that on Thursday night, I'm going to do a Sir Alex. I'm going to have a nice bottle of red, and I'm going to drink it during the game. Friday is a bank holiday in the UK. I don't know whether it... Do you get a... Tell us where you are and if you get a bank holiday, by the way, if you're live or not. So it's Easter. I presume there are countries out there that you don't get that, but let me know. I'm nosy about that sort of stuff. But Bailey says, I've just bought the hoodie. Please don't block me. Yeah, he's being sarcastic. He hasn't bought the hoodie. Yeah, but I've got a lovely bottle of red that I'm going to devour on Thursday night with my crew, which is you. So yeah, that's ready to go. Thank you very much, Luna. Juan, thank you and welcome to the Members Club. Appreciate that. And also, Ray says, my problem with signings is too young or players who are not wanted, especially Delap, Simmons. We can't sign players who are worth signing. Thank you very much for that. Okay, get over to That's Football. I'll be live with you in about 4 minutes. If people are waiting, let them know. It's Villa against PSG. Looking forward to it. 2 big nights in the Champions League, and then we're on Thursday. Fantastic show tonight. Thanks everyone for getting involved. Really appreciate it as ever. And I'll see you over on That's Football if you're joining me there. Take care.